Hello, class. Good morning. This is Ethan L, and today I am excited to have the pleasure of discussing my final project for the Game and Interactive Media Squaring class. My composer of choice for this unit was Junichi Masuda from Japan, the scorer of the Pokemon franchise video games since its inception in like the 1980s, I think, 1980s, maybe 1990s. He took part in almost all of the projects up to around the mid 2000s is when he started to transition to a director role. But nevertheless, some of his early scores are some of the most memorable pieces in video game scoring that kind of exist right now. Here's an example of some of those. So, as for this presentation, it asks for a detailed analysis of the music of one commercially released project by the composer that I chose. So, I guess let's dive back to Generation 4. If anybody doesn't know what that is, that's kind of like the fourth region of installments in this series. They have these regions that kind of change, and then with that change, there's different like Pokemon, different like kind of locations that the player gets to embark in. Here is one of the scores composed in the early game of Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, one of the 4th generation games. Have a listen. Yeah, so this is absolutely divine scoring. When I was like 12, I thought this was like one of the best things ever created, up there with the organ works of Bach. It is awesome. It's brilliant. Like, just listen to this intro. It's crazy. You think you're in C major, but it turns out it was the flat 6 the whole time, and you're in E major, and then you're just losing your mind. It's so good. Yes, and as I kind of stated previously, this is an early game score. The game scoring system is really, really cool. It works on kind of two primary systems. There's one overworld element to Pokemon where the player is walking through these different routes, different cities, different towns in order to get to different locations. The primary objective is to conquer like a bunch of gyms, which are kind of like landmarks in order to challenge the league, the Pokemon League, which is where the champion is. And then you end up becoming the champion, and then you're the best like ever. And that's how it works. So in the overworld, you have certain scores while you're walking around, interacting with other characters, whatever, speaking to them by pressing like the A button. Then there's also the battle elements. This is kind of huge. This is like the primary element of the game, the turn-based combat. If you're faster, you move first. You attack, you might inflict a status condition, you might lower one of their stats like their defense, their special attack. It's really, really cool. So what I'm playing for you is an example of one of the overworld themes. Here's maybe another battle theme from this same generation, just to kind of see how that kind of works. Here is a rough music asset list I just pulled out. I hope it's sufficient. It's kind of just outlining what I kind of found of how the music works, the context and everything. Yeah. Here are some more gameplay video examples that kind of highlight what I talked about a little bit earlier, about kind of the juxtaposition of this overworld and battle kind of context, like just so you can see more of how the game works. So my personal assessment of this score and many others in this same game is an absolute 10. It's immaculate. It does not get better than this. This is what I live for. This is what music was created for, stuff like this. I mean, just look at this intro. I mean, the flat... Okay, everybody, thank you for joining me today. This is the conclusion of my presentation. Yeah, sorry, I had no script or anything. This is like one of probably the worst projects I've made in my life. But nevertheless, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for an amazing class. And yes, all the best to you all. And yeah, take care.